We've seen a lot of games this year with a lot of secrets. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the 6 most elaborate Easter eggs of 2019. Starting off with number 6, in The Division 2, there is a really odd secret in the invaded version of Roosevelt Island. It involves owls. Lots of owls. And of course, people haven't fully figured it out yet. It's either just another breadcrumb on the trail or a weird message you get at the end of whatever it's supposed to be. Who really knows at this point? The whole thing revolves around the Moravian society, who seem to really like owls, and are a strange secret society that doesn't seem to have any relation to any real-life organizations or people. To actually find their meeting place, you're going to have to light up all these owl statues in the area in a specific order, which can only be done if you're playing the invaded version of Roosevelt Island, once again, and only after you've completed the mission, as in killing the last boss and clearing the last room. Do that, then go back and activate the owls in the correct order. If you do it properly, the owl will have a green flame, but if you screw it up, it'll be a red flame and you'll have to start over. Once all 7 owls are lit with a green flame, you'll get an owl hooting noise. And that means the secret gate is open, which is what an owl hooting often signifies, right? Anyways, go back to the room belonging to Emmeline, and you'll find a previously locked gate is now open. From here, it doesn't seem like you can do anything else, but if you do a salute emote at the owl statue, it will play this audio clip. The gears are turning. The plan's in motion. We will have to scatter to avoid detection. This may be the last meeting in the Moravian Society. We will seal this site until another who knows the rituals can reopen it. So what does that mean? Is this a hint of future content? It seems pretty well buried for that kind of thing, but is it a secret society in-joke? Did the developers just like owls? I mean, who knows, but this is really elaborate. Moving on to number 5, Trials Rising, the Temple of Trials riddle. Just as a quick preface, all the Trials games since Trials HD have had these bizarre, complicated secrets in them. The one in Trials Fusion hasn't even actually been solved yet. The one in Rising hasn't either, but it's possible that some remaining clues need to be found in future DLC. What people have found so far is a secret hole you need to fall down just under the start of the Temple of Trials course. After falling through, you need to wait on the platform for the 4 lights to change color, then a portal will open behind you. To reach this portal, you need to start reversing and bail, flinging your driver backward through the portal, and this is where progress stopped for a long time. That is, until people figured out that the 4 colored flames were a clue. Each color corresponded to a different colored room, are on their own incredibly difficult to find. Here's one you can find in the Propriet course. You need to bail out and grab 3 secret buttons around the course, then bail through this random door and find a portal into a secret room. This is one of the colored rooms you need to find to solve the room in the Temple of Trials. We did not call this an elaborate secrets video for nothing. Each one of these rooms plays a unique sequence of notes. If you take the 4 notes from each of the 4 rooms, it creates a code. Each one of the 4 notes is actually a direction you need to input in the dead-end room. Now things get really weird with these what look like mathematical equations just popping up and glitching all over the screen. This is the part that has people stumped now. The DLCs for the game continue hiding Easter eggs, and it's like this insanely long tunnel that it leads to this in the second DLC, so there's probably still clues to find, but for now, this one remains unsolved. The Trials games have, for some reason, always had the most bizarre and elaborate Easter eggs in gaming, and Rising totally continues that tradition. Number 4 is in Control. Now, Control is filled with Easter eggs and references to the developers' past games like Max Payne, Quantum Break, and especially Alan Wake, and they're more than happy to reference the band Poets of the Fall, which they collaborated on for Max Payne 2, Alan Wake, and now Control. This Easter egg is actually a twofer, as it contains reference to 2 musical acts, and finding it actually earned the Speediest Sleuths some out-of-game rewards. How this one works is you find a special lab that doesn't seem to have any purpose in the central research hall of the research sector. In it, you'll find that they're testing the Poets of the Fall song, My Dark Disquiet. This is kind of funny, but not much of a stretch for Remedy, the developers. So you continue to explore central research by climbing high up, like really high up, way past where it seems like you're supposed to go, and then you find a second room that's testing a different song from a different band, this one being Socks and Ballerinas. That might seem like that's it, But if you check the chalkboard, you'll see what looks like nothing. There's a lot of chalkboards in this game. They're filled with mad scribblings, but this one actually has something on it. See these numbers in a sequence? They're actually an A1Z26 cipher, probably the most basic one where the number corresponds to the letter's position in the alphabet, so 19 equals S, 15 equals O, and so on. So the cipher just reads socks and ballerinas. Now, look over here, this chemical compound in the top right, that's actually a soap molecule. From here, the first guy to report this on Reddit, a user named Jedi Outcast, found the Bandcamp page of Socks and Ballerinas and found it had a redeem code link, so he tried out the code and found he got a free album. Now, there's only 3 codes that could actually be redeemed this way, and they've obviously long since ran out. But it's a pretty cool secret for a fun freebie for Easter egg hunters. Moving on to number 3, there's a weird Easter egg involving Elon Musk in Rage 2. Basically, Elon Musk of Tesla and SpaceX and PayPal fame has a pretty big Easter egg about him in Rage 2. I mean, first you see posters that say Elton Tusk, which, obvious reference. They show up in the Eden Space Center, which isn't a big deal, but then you can find a secret bunker that has a lot more going on with him. For instance, there's an optional area where you'll get messages from Elton Tusk himself.
There is no such thing anymore! Turn back now, or I'll be forced to annihilate you!
And find out that he is now a brain in a jar. There is full voice acting.
I am immortal! I see and hear all! Once the network was filled with life and light.
So that's all there is, huh? Pickled brain.
A unique location and a whole story that plays out. The main question to really ask, though, is why?
Okay, I've seen enough.
And at number 2, in Disco Elysium, which is a game about solving a mystery and peeking through the curtain of the universe, so obviously there's going to be a big secret. Disco Elysium is one of the weirdest games of the year, but it didn't really seem like it had a lot of Easter eggs to it. At least until a Steam user named The Enigma began reporting their findings, and this is complicated, so strap in. There could be a tease for a DLC in some of this, could be a reference to some unfinished content, or the game could just be haunted, I don't know. It is not a game filled with easy answers, so maybe the secrets are even more cryptic. Here's what the Enigma found. Basically, if you explore this abandoned building where a game studio used to be, you'll find some information about a production schedule that references the fact that the lead developer spent too much time on a secret mystical location that you can find at the extreme edge of the map. You know, in the game they were working on. It implies that this mystical location is where the player of the game can unlock heads for headless constructs in the game, with each head would have been voiced on air by a professional actor. Do you follow me here? So in Disco Elysium, you find an abandoned game studio that was working on their own game that had a mystical location in it, which kind of sounds like meta commentary on the developers of Disco Elysium themselves, so maybe there's more to it. The Enigma continued until he reached the bottom half of the map near the fishing village, and if you've put enough points into Shivers, which is a stat that basically makes it so your character is better at finding out things about place, you'll get a thought that tells you about the surrounding area. If you ask what's east during the thought, it will give you this message: a fenced off yard. There's a truck belonging to a logistics company parked right next to the gate. Bright light from a building behind the fence reflects off its hood. Clean white light coming from the windows of a clean cube-shaped office building hidden amidst ruins. A secret. So now there's 2 mentions of some kind of secret. The location lines up with the edge of the map secret the game designer was working on. So if you go east, you can see the truck, like in a passage that just so happens to be on the edge of the map. It is a Delta Logistics Company truck, and if your shivers are high, you'll get a new message about a blue light. It also says return to it later, so there must be something there. Obviously, the truck's company, Delta Logistics Company, can be shortened to DLC, so it may be just a silly reference to some kind of add-on they're doing, but there's actually more going on here still. Down by the fishing village, you can find some drunks, one of which who will tell you stories. He talks about a soldier who was decapitated and wanders around looking for his hat. Apparently, he can be seen at 12 at the end of the canal looking for his hat. Coincidentally, that mysterious truck is at the end of the canal, and remember what the game designer message said. The heads can be unlocked for the headless constructs in the game at a mysterious location that seems to perfectly describe this truck location. The Enigma has put it all together. He'll return to this mysterious truck at 12 wearing a hat, and that's his last message. Was it nothing, or just an extremely meta joke about game design, or did the ghost get him? Who can really say? It's a complex game. And finally, at number 1, Bungie had hinted that in Destiny 2, completing a fireteam solo at 999 power would have game-changing effects, but instead what happened was, well, nothing. This is a kind of complicated one, so buckle up. Destiny 2 had an expansion last year known as Forsaken. The endgame content for that expansion was a location called the Dreaming City, and that's where a new raid was introduced, the Last Wish. After the first team was able to beat the raid and its boss, Riven of a Thousand Voices, a curse enveloped the Dreaming City in-game, basically making it so the location would get progressively darker and more corrupted looking over the course of a 3-week period, after which it would reset back to normal and start again. In gameplay terms, this just means that certain quests and challenges reset every 3 weeks, the main thing being that the Shattered Throne fire team, which is a 3-person mission, that's not nearly as challenging as a 6-person raid, but still pretty tough. So what's the secret here? Well, if you do an activity called the Blind Well, you'll get some lore entries. Most of these are just cryptic hints about Destiny stuff, but one of them, Act 1 Choose 1 React, has a section that says this. Achieve level 999 and defeat Duel and Karu in a 1-person fire team to unlock the true ending of the Dreaming City. That's about as straightforward as you're going to get in Destiny. Light level is basically a player's total power in Destiny 2, but back during Forsaken it was impossible to get to 999, power was locked at a max of 600. It wasn't until the newest expansion, Shadowkeep, that players were able to get to 999 power, so at this point all someone had to do was get to 999 power and complete the Shattered Throne solo as Duel and Karu, the boss of the Shattered Throne. Getting to 999 is a crazy grind, but one Destiny 2 streamer was able to do it, and do it fast, Bagel4K, who got to 999 power about a month after Shadowkeep came out. With a little guidance, they were able to beat the Shattered Throne solo and at 999 power, like the lore entry said in a pretty straightforward way. That should break the curse on the Dreaming City, or at least get a true ending. But nothing in-game happened. Instead, this weird blog post on Bungie.net came out and basically congratulated Bagel4K on completing the challenge, but also sprinkling in weird stuff that implies the whole thing was a setup. Even their Twitter got some messages implied to be from what people are guessing is the game's next big bad guy, Savathun. On one hand, these posts are kind of cool secrets that can be fun to get from developers, but on the other, last time Bungie implied something cool would happen in the Dreaming City, something cool actually happened. The city actually changed in-game because of player actions, and this seemed like it was going to be something similar. I mean, the lore text, like I said, is about as straightforward as you can get. Beat the Shattered Throne at power level 999 and there will be a true ending. But we didn't get any kind of ending, we just got a blog update and some Twitter messages. This is one of those things that's both cool but also disappointing, but at least it is very interesting. So there's that. Have you done any of this, or perhaps another incredibly elaborate Easter egg in a game this year? Leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and if you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe and don't forget to click the notification bell. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon, you can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.